what everyone was most clowning on Microsoft and Xbox for may have actually been one of the actually greatest marketing achievements done in this age. It was cringe calling everything an Xbox, but Microsoft actually followed through with what they were saying. They began this marketing back some months ago, and now they have the Xbox Series X, they have Windows that is getting optimized, and it's putting on a handheld. So the ROG, Xbox Ally X, and Xbox Ally was recently shown as the new handhelds coming from Xbox that are going to have a slimmed down Windows and Xbox OS on it that will be more performance than just regular Windows. It'll limit a lot of the Windows background OS capabilities and stuff that would be managed on desktops, make it way more performative to put it on the handheld so that the battery life lasts longer and the games run more efficiently without all the other stuff taking up resources. And putting this on the ROG Ally with the Xbox hand grips on it with 24 and 16 gigabyte versions, I believe. It's incredible. It's incredible for a handheld, and the specs on it are actually pretty great. And then Xbox and Meta come out and reveal the Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition. Now, this was already leaked to be a rumored thing coming out, but now it's real. And this is a Quest in all the black and green that Xbox is known for, coming with new hand controllers that are also black, but it also comes with a controller in this black and green scheme with 3 months of Game Pass included. And you can see here on Meta's website that this design was designed with Xbox, but you can have there's the Meta logos still included, and it comes with an Xbox controller with the Quest. So you're going to be gaming on, as you can see here, not even in just VR, but also in AR. And the whole thing that everything is an Xbox seemed like a joke before. But at this point, they have covered, they have the console, they have the laptops and the PCs. They now have this handheld in this image, and they have the VR in this image. I know you can do some Game Pass stuff with your TV, so that expands to the TV, and your phone has the Xbox app. And let me tell you, they're working on getting many, many AAA games working on your phone. There have been games that have been mostly PC based or Xbox console based that have come to the iPhone as well. Think Assassin's Creed Shadows. Dredge recently came onto it. Balatro you can play on your phone. All these games that have been PC and console centered are now playable on your mobile device, and it's kind of acting like an Xbox. You might see a Windows phone here in the future that may just be loaded with a Xbox firmware to run games. As long as the phones keep developing, and maybe they partner with Apple because they already partner with Meta, there's no reason to say they couldn't do it. I mean, it's interesting to see how the campaign was first portrayed and how everybody received it. But now that Microsoft is following up on this, the fact that it was memed on and portrayed and it is stuck in everyone's mind that, yeah, Xbox says everything is an Xbox. Well, now Microsoft has everything that you would manage to play games on loaded with Xbox and Windows firmware. I mean, it's honestly a genius move on their end because it's already in your mind that you're going to play with Windows and Xbox. I mean, I know there's some declining revenue share of Windows in PCs, and Linux is kind of gaining a bit, and some developers are working on getting games running better on Linux. But at the moment, Windows is still the dominating factor on PC, especially if you're playing games on it. And now it's being moved harder and more harder into the handheld market to compete directly with the Steam Deck. The only problem there is if you're talking to your grandparents and you're 12 years old and you want to go say, hey, grandma, gram, can I get a Steam Deck? She can type that into her browser and get that pulled up, and she's probably going to get the right one. If you tell Gram, I want the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. There are so many words in there that she could get wrong, and she's going to see it and be like, maybe this is the right one. Maybe you wanted the Xbox Ally Series X with the 24 gigabytes of RAM, but she gets you the Xbox Ally the white version with only 16 gigabytes. Because what does Graham know? She sees ROG, she sees Ally, she sees Xbox. It's the same thing to her. It's the same thing. Steam Deck, you can't mess it up. It's Steam Deck, and then there's like the Steam Deck OLED. You can get that one word factor in there, but once you start getting into this 7 word display name for what you're trying to communicate, you got to simplify it, Xbox, and you got to simplify it, Microsoft. This is your biggest come up, but I understand. You want to represent Asus, you want to represent the Xbox. They want to make it represent that it's kind of like the Series X and the Series S. So you have like the higher performance one and the lower performance one. I understand where they're coming from. It's just not that great for the public eye and the public sentiment of trying to purchase one when you're a general person trying to communicate to someone maybe outside of the gaming space what you're trying to communicate them to. So that's the one biggest loss on the handhelds at this time. But the VR now, the VR is them taking a full step into the next section. A lot of people have taken a step back on VR gaming in general, but there have been some big moves made in the space as well, with the new Assassin's Creed game put on it, the Batman Arkham game on there. They've been really working on pushing the VR with some heavier titles on it. I know they have the Batman, they got Beat Saber, they have the Star Wars Tales of the Galaxy, and the Star Wars Vader games. Those are bigger titles that were, kind of generated to bump up some of the sentiment for the VR industry. However, it's still a little bit lacking, but as it moves into the future, you could have your Xbox MetaQuest 3S edition, and you can play your games that you would cloud game like South of Midnight and Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. Think about playing that in your VR in AR instead of like waiting to look at your TV. You just sit down, pop that bad boy in, load it up through Game Pass, and you're cloud playing it, and you have a screen within your optical range that you can just look at without having to look across the room at a TV. You can space the distance in the other browser tabs and things like that on the MetaQuest. So I'm assuming you're going to be able to do some spacing in your peripheral on this, and like what type of space you want between you and your screen that you're seeing in the AR. I just think that, this looks impressive. Obviously, this is a rendered image, but I think this is really interesting for the future of gaming, in the fact that Xbox, has absolutely outstated that they have not beat PlayStation in the open market for consoles. And they have taken the step to diversify, as many of you should when you're doing either content. Like, think about the things that you are get told to diversify in, like content and just gaming in general. The amount of way that games have evolved, going from the DS to the Switch being docked and on the go at the same time. Xbox is taking that step to go Xbox Cloud Play or Xbox just Direct Play on the handheld, on the go, the VR on the go in your own like living space generally, but you can take the headset on the go and cloud play it anywhere. And then you have your console that you set at home on your desk and you just let it sit there, and then you have maybe your PC that you do your main big gaming on with Steam. But now that the ROG Ally Xbox Series X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, has Steam on it, and there are talks about Steam coming to the actual Xbox, that would be a game changer, and that might actually push them over the PlayStation in some regards to like console purchases. However, people are always going to buy a PlayStation because of their exclusive, because they just have the better exclusives. And there's just nothing to talk about there. That's just an open and shut conversation. However, moving from all your games streaming directly from your PC to your Xbox to your handheld to your VR, all of it connected, and maybe eventually your phone. At this point, it's just an extra step in the industry that Microsoft is making to get a leg up above the competition like Sony and other things like that, and Steam and Valve. But it's just like, it's very interesting how this campaign went from this is the dumbest thing people have ever seen to maybe this is like the greatest campaign they've ever done, because even though it was memed on, it was still fresh in everyone's mind, and everyone knew about it. That's the thing. Everyone in the gaming industry knew about it. And because everyone knew about it, now you see both of these products come out, and you're seeing all this come out with the VR and the handheld. Everyone knows about it. And you can't knock that. That is just extreme marketing. If there's anything you want from marketing, is that you want people to know about it. Anyways, that's just kind of my thoughts about it. And the future of gaming is looking bleak at sometimes and also bright at others. More options for the handheld, more options for the VR. It's still coming from Meta, but more options to choose from and what you're looking for consumers as a consumer. That's always better. And generating up some competition in the space between handheld especially. You have the Xbox versions now, you have the Steam Deck, you have the Switch. All these things are coming together to provide some actual competition for the gaming industry. And that's just always a win for the consumer. Are they priced out? Maybe. However, that's just one step for another competitor to come in and be like, hey, we offer this handheld, has Steam support, doesn't have Xbox support, but cheaper, and it works. So you can't knock the industry when there's better competition, even when someone like Microsoft is stepping into the space. I'm not trying to be a Microsoft shill. I'm just saying from an objective standpoint, this was actually a pretty decent move on their end for this campaign marketing to come into releasing both of these onto the market in a very relatively short time of span of each other, especially within like the gaming industry. I mean, you can't say anything. PlayStation still beats Xbox in consoles, and there are definitely other handheld options out there. You as a consumer now have the choice if you are a diehard Xbox fan to go with this. I just wanted to mull over the fact that everyone kind of memed on it, but honestly, Microsoft followed up on it, and I can't hate them for that. If you hate him for that, I don't know. Drop it in the comment below. A man is lost without the sauce, but the same man can get lost in the sauce. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.